Hello, friends, fans, and foes. Oh, yeah. I was gonna go to the gym, and then I had the desire to record this video. Rivian has solidified the options available for the launch package R2, so I wanna talk a little bit about that. I also wanna talk about my experience with the Rivian community, particularly on Reddit, but also on Twitter, because honestly, it makes me not want to buy or invest in Rivian. If you're new here, my name is Jenks. I am a queer automotive enthusiast who has worked in tech. I've owned a number of vehicles in my lifetime, 3 of which are RVs. R2 will be the 4th. So not only am I sexy, I'm smart too. Let's kick this off with Rivian's reveal for the launch package. So I got an email yesterday or the day before that highlights a blog post from Rivian explaining which options are available with the launch package of the R2. So there will only be 6 colors available for the launch package R2. There's Esker Silver, which comes with it. That's included in the price. There's Launch Green, which you get the exclusive opportunity to purchase Launch Green. And then there's Half Moon Gray, Glacier White, Midnight, and Catalina Cove. All 5 of those colors besides Esker Silver are going to cost extra. Where I'm impressed is Borealis and Forest Green aren't gonna be available at launch. I had my heart set on the Borealis paint color, so it's a real bummer that it won't be available for the launch package. And people were like, well, you could just wait. I don't have time to wait. I'll get into that later on in the Reddit course or Reddit section of the video. But yeah, that's a huge bummer. And there seems to be, I think there are more people upset with the fact that the white coastal cloud interior color isn't available at launch either. That was another tidbit that was dropped in this blog post. That was already known. I think some other Rivian executives have expressed that online and in interviews before, and now it was officially confirmed. So the only color available on the inside at launch will be the black Crater Signature. The Coastal Cloud will be available for all iterations for the performance package, but it won't be available with this new launch package. They also confirmed that the 21-inch wheels with the all-season tires will come standard with the launch package. The 20-inch all-terrains will cost additional. We don't know what the cost of these will be yet, but the 21 inches are standard. It's also important to note that the 0 to 60 time of 3.6 seconds is measured with the 21-inch wheels with the all-season tires. It is not measured with the 20-inch all-terrains. So it'll be interesting once people start getting their 20-inch all-terrain R2s to test out the 0 to 60 time. I don't know if Rivian over or understates their 0 to 60 times, because in a BMW, they'll say it's 4.7 seconds, and then Matt from CarWow will test it and it's like 4.2. So I'm curious, if you're a Rivian owner, is your 0 to 60 time over or understated for your model? Let me know in the comments. We also talked about this in the last video. So the launch package will come with 4 exclusive features. It's a green anodized key fob, which I don't think anyone will ever use because we all use phone as key. There is the exclusive opportunity to purchase the launch green color. There is the tow package, which allows you to tow up to 4,400 pounds. And there's Autonomy Plus. Now, this blog article in the footnotes at the bottom, they make it pretty clear that Autonomy Plus, it is transferable with the vehicle. So if you sell it, all of those Autonomy Plus features are going with the car. They don't stick with you as the owner, but they've made it clear that Autonomy Plus is only representative of what it includes right now, which is universal hands-free. As a reminder, universal hands-free allows you to drive with your hands off the wheel, eyes on, hands off the wheel. It doesn't stop at stop signs or stop lights. So if you're somebody who's coming from Tesla full self-driving, you're gonna have to retrain your brain for sure. So if you're driving around city streets with universal hands-free, if there isn't a car in front of you that stops at a stop sign, if you're the first person in the line, you need to retake control. Otherwise, your car's just gonna fly through the intersection. The other part of Autonomy Plus is the brain fart lane change on command. So if you tap the signal when you're driving on the highway, it'll look and wait for an opening in traffic and it'll move over for you. It doesn't mean that it's automatically going to change lanes without your input. You first have to tell the vehicle that you want to change lanes first, and then it will take over for you. I think Rivian's designation that it will only include these 2 features in Autonomy Plus, or it somewhat implies that Autonomy Plus and whatever features are blanketed under Autonomy Plus in the future will be included and transferable, but I don't yet know, and please someone correct me in the comments, I don't yet know if it's been made clear what future autonomy features will still be included in Autonomy Plus. My perception is that it will include point-to-point on the highway. It is also my perception that it will include hands-free parking assist, because that's what's listed on Rivian's website currently if you look on their autonomy page. However, I don't know about full point-to-point, so similar to Tesla's self-driving, where you type in your address, hit a button and it'll pull you out of your driveway and pull you into the parking space of the mall. I would hope that all future autonomy features are blanketed under Autonomy Plus, but considering the price point for $2,500 lifetime or $49 a month, that is significantly cheaper, as half the price of, at least per month, because now Tesla doesn't offer FSD as a full, you can't buy it all at once, you have to pay monthly. Tesla's is $99 a month. So it'll be interesting to see if Rivian includes future features within Autonomy Plus, or if they're gonna release Autonomy Delta, which includes more advanced features. And if that's the case, I think a lot of owners and prospective owners will be put off. And it's also essentially, are they gonna basically turn Autonomy Plus into like adaptive cruise control, which is essentially what it is, at least right now. So those are the major updates from Rivian about the R2 launch package. So again, if you want Borealis or Forest Green exterior colors, if you want the Coastal Cloud white interior, you're gonna have to wait until later. We don't know how much later they're coming out. They did make it clear that these options are still available, but for the launch package, Rivian is focusing on just cranking out as many as they can. And I suspect that the Forest Green and the Borealis and the white interior, whether it's an added cost or added complexity, they're not gonna offer it for the people like me who need a car and want a car right away, who will have to settle for the black interior and the 6 external colors. For the second part of the video, I wanna get into internet culture, but specifically around Rivian owners. I've had a Reddit account for 7 years. I generally post in black skincare threads, aesthetics threads, Apple threads, any kind of technology threads. I used to post in Tesla, or at least like creep around Tesla back when I was interested in one. But now, as a prospective Rivian R2 owner, I've been in the Rivian R2 and Rivian subreddits. I didn't have much to add to those subreddits at first because I was just learning and taking a lot of the information in. I feel like a lot of the posts in the R2 subreddit were sightings of R2 in public, whether it was in the camo or not. We've been really excited about seeing these outings in public because it just makes us feel like we're closer to getting our own R2s. However, I recently started sharing my own point of view and information that I think or thought was interesting and useful. And I've been receiving a lot of vitriol. I even got one of my posts removed from the R2 subreddit. So let's get into the first weird interaction on Reddit. So one of my friends works for Rivian, and I've been sharing with him a lot of the commentary around the block parties in all these different cities and sort of what customers are thinking about the vehicle and these prototypes that they get to experience at the block parties. And I think one of the most common critiques has to do with the audio system. My understanding is that Rivian audio systems, even the premium options, which have 18 speakers, etc., have been mediocre. So for the R2, there's a little snippet on the R2 information page that talks about speakers. There's 9 speakers, and then there's 2 mid woofers, and there's 2 subwoofers that are forced balance that are supposed to make the audio quality better than before. However, the prototypes at the block parties allegedly aren't set up with the final software and tuning. And so some people have tested it and they're like, oh, it sounds, this guy named Chris H., I guess he's somewhat well known in the Rivian automotive review world. He got on Twitter and basically listed the highs, the so-sos, and the bad about the R2 so far. And he essentially said that the audio system is so-so and the bass is bad. He listed bass as the only bad thing. I was sharing some of this information with my friend, and he essentially said, this is pre-release software. It says explicitly on the screen that it's not, like, it's pre-production software. And he's like, you know, people should take that to heart because it's not everything is finished yet. And so I took a screenshot of that conversation. I blacked out my friend's picture and his name because I don't know if there's a clause within Rivian that you're not supposed to have these kinds of conversations, but I was trying to protect my friend. And so I posted the picture of the conversation on Reddit, and this guy was like, his first response to me was, well, why should anyone care? And my response back was, you know, a lot of people are concerned about the audio system. I just wanted to share the other perspective of like, well, if the audio system sounds bad, it's because it's not ready yet. That was my only intention. But I also said, like, are you okay, dude? Like, he kind of came in just rude from the get-go. I was like, is there anything you want to talk about? And his response back was, oh, well, this guy sounds like a nobody, so I'll continue to not pay attention to anything that you're saying. My response back to him being like, bro, are you okay? I'm just trying to offer a different perspective. It got a ton of downvotes. His shitty response got a ton of upvotes. And then a couple of hours later, the mods had deleted that screenshot that I took of the conversation with my friend. And when I reached out to the mods to ask them why, they said, and I'll read you the whole thing. A picture of a phone showing a text message with redactions is kind of the definition of quote unquote low quality content. A post with your own commentary on this Chris guy's review, incorporating what you've got back from a Rivian employee, that's fine, but the way it was presented wasn't generating good discussion. Then they said, given your non-existent history in the community, low overall karma for account age, and a questionably provocative username, it comes across as engagement bait from a bot account, so it was removed. First of all, I don't know what karma is. I assume, I'm sure I could have looked it up before this video, whatever. Just based off of what I would assume karma is like a point system that increases as you get more upvotes on stuff. I don't know if that's karma. I don't know if karma is when people explicitly give you like those awards or whatever. I don't really know. But I've been on Reddit for 7 years. If you look in my post history, if you look at my comment history, it's all tech focused, it's all thoughtful and mindful and empathetic, considerate of other people and every viewpoint. Like there's so much history on my Reddit. And so the fact that this person is like, you have low overall karma for account age, I don't know how much karma I'm supposed to have after 7 years. Somebody feel free to comment and let me know. And a questionably provocative username. So my username on Reddit is callme. That's been my Reddit username forever. I wish that Reddit allowed you to edit your username. It doesn't. That's like the dumbest thing about Reddit in my opinion. I don't know why they don't let you edit your username, but that's my username, right? I'm obviously a homosexual who has reclaimed that word. And I just when I created my Reddit, I just never thought twice that it would get under people's skin. But I think that might be a huge factor. But even regardless, when other people post, I rarely pay attention to their username. I pay attention to the content. And so I feel like similar to what I consider Elon Musk, just like weird Nazi behavior of policing what I would hope is a helpful post based on their username, I think is just like Nazi behavior. And by the way, the person who responded back to me, I forgot to mention this earlier, after I said, yo, I just thought I was trying to offer, different perspectives. It's like an employee explaining things. That was my only purpose behind this post. When he responded back, his first sentence was, is English your second language? As in I didn't understand what he said, which was, why should we care? And I thought I answered why people should care. And he goes, well, it sounds like English is your second language. And I reported his comment back because it's xenophobic and racist. But, and I think they removed his comment, but then they also just removed my picture and my post, negating the purpose of me making the post. And so that being my first time posting and that being my first experience with the R2 sub and my first experience posting something, and then the mods deeming it as low quality content, to me just gives Nazi bullshit. The second weird thing that happened to me on Reddit, so somebody posted about their friend who is planning on getting an R2. They were excited about the launch package edition, but because Borealis isn't gonna be available for the launch package, their friend is super bummed, they don't know what to do. So I responded back thinking that I'm empathizing with this person and their friend, and I said, I was set on Borealis with the black interior, forest green was my second choice, I guess I'm just gonna stick with Esker Silver. That's all I said. This same person says, forest green comes later in launch edition, and then they said, do you really need it that fast soon to compromise in color? Reality check, man. Reality check. My reality is me empathizing with the exact, the purpose of what you said was that Borealis isn't available at launch. Your friend is super bummed. He needs a car right away. And so reality check, maybe it's a personality thing, but this is the second person who's responded to me on a Rivian subreddit. And it feels like your personality is that of a wet piece of shit. Reality check. My reality is the same as your friends that you're referencing in your comment. What are you talking about? My instinct now is to just not respond because I feel like whenever I respond, even if it's kind, and again, all my responses are kind, it keeps getting downvoted. And I can only assume that's either one, because my username, well, I'll get into my hypothesis of why this keeps happening, but if my username of call me is so triggering to these people that it makes them be discriminatory, I guess that answers my own question, but It's just really, I don't know, it's really weird. So then the person after, so my response back, I wasn't gonna respond. I said, Polestar is buying back my 3 this week, therefore I'm without a vehicle until R2. So yeah, ... reality checked, man. And again, I expected that to fully get like downvoted and whatever. I just stopped following up. I think he responded back and said some stuff like, ooh, but I don't even care. Third instance of asshole responses on Rivian subreddit. So the rear wiper, somebody posted a video from the block party of the rear wiper spray. It like sprays out at the top and then the wiper goes only like, I don't know, somebody said 3/4 of the way. I would say it's maybe like 60% of the way. No, what are angles? So if this is 180 degrees, that would be 50%. Yeah, so it feels like it only goes like 60, maybe 65% of the way. And so again, I'm not an engineer. I've never had a car that has a rear window that goes all the way down with a wiper. So I posed this thought. I said, I want to remain optimistic about this, but I'm curious about the software threshold that prohibits use of the wiper when the rear window isn't all the way up. I assume an alert will come up on the driver display saying close rear window to use wiper, but I'd like to see it in practice. And I don't think that that's an asinine thing to say. I know that the Toyota, is it the Land Cruiser? Some Toyota vehicle has a rear window that also goes down, that also has a wiper. I don't know anything about where the wiper sits or the technology. I know that exists, but this is a new feature for Rivian. And so, well, it's a new feature for Rivian, but also I've never seen this in practice. So I was just stating like, I'm curious about what the UI is gonna look like and how this is gonna work. This person says, that's a 1-line code, LOL. And then he lists like what the line of code would be. And then he says, what Redditors think is easy versus hard is insane to me. Concerned about trivial stuff like this, then confident enough to think autonomy is 6 months away, not necessarily in this subreddit. And then somebody under him was like, I mean, it's a Forerunner. Forerunners have had that solved for decades. Cool, bro. I obviously don't expect everyone to have context because none of us know each other and I'm just like a random stranger with in their username, I guess. I just have never, and again, I know it's Reddit and I know it's the internet, but the R2 Facebook group is not full of assholes like this. Like people will make comments or ask questions and it's always met with empathy and consideration like, hey, we're a community here. Whereas Reddit, it's always just like rage bait responses. And it's just really, really, really fucking weird to me. Somebody actually, that's the last thing I'll mention about this is some guy, so this Chris guy who I've been kind of referencing earlier about his review of the R2. Again, I think that he's somewhat well known in the Rivian reviewer type of world. I've been following him because he posts a lot and he's liked some of my stuff and like we haven't gone back and forth, but like, I don't know, I appreciate his content because he's very thorough. He posted a video with another popular Rivian automotive reviewer person and he posted a picture with this guy. So I was like, oh, who's this? So I clicked on this guy's account. DJ, whatever his username is, has blocked you. I've never interacted with this person. I'd never seen him before. There was never an exchange. I didn't even know he existed as a human being. No clue why I'm blocked. Not a clue. Don't know who this person is. And my Twitter username is the same or similar. I shouldn't say it's the same. It's very similar to my Reddit username of call me. So my hypothesis, as I mentioned, there's two. One, I think that the word triggers bigots because they're like, oh, he's a homosexual, so I'm just gonna be a bigot towards this person. I guess on the other side of the spectrum, there are homosexuals who don't like to use that word because it's offensive, but I've reclaimed the word like I have with nigga. Like those are my words to use as a biracial homosexual. And so if your first foray into who I am as a person is that I'm gay, and then your first response to me is you're an asshole, then I can really only conclude that you're a bigot. And my second hypothesis, which I think bolsters that point, is Rivian only has 2 vehicles so far. There's an SUV and a pickup truck. And just saying, most people who buy pickup trucks tend to be white, heterosexual, cisgender men with wives and children who live in the suburbs. And that is historically a like conservative, right-leaning group of people. So while I want to think that people are buying EVs because they're progressive and they're leftist and they understand wanting to like save the planet, I also have to remember that most of the people doing automotive reviews not just for Rivian, but in general, but all of the people that I've come in contact with who make reviews for Rivian specifically, even like a lot of Rivian's advertising and marketing includes mostly white people. From my perspective, and again, this is just off of my experience, it seems like they're just kind of like conservative, toxic men who want to put a homosexual in their place. And even like I've seen, and this is specific to Rivian threads too, I mean, it's automotive threads, but again, I'm mostly just in the Rivian threads. It's a lot of men being like, oh, I have to convince my wife to get this color, or I have to convince my wife to get this spec or this option. It's like, well, your wife is a human being and she can make her own decisions. And so even just these men stating it in that way that they need to convince their wives, like their wives are objects and they can't decide things for themselves. In addition to how they've all been speaking, responding to me, it makes me not want to buy a Rivian, honestly. I know a lot of people in the comments are going to be like, oh, well, yeah, thank God, give up your reservation so I could just move up in the line. Oh, I haven't seen that before. I'm still going to buy a Rivian. I'm still going to buy one with the launch package, but I think what I intend to do is to just not engage with the Rivian, either the Rivian or the Rivian R2 communities, because I think the mods are the same in both. And so I just suspect that like the Rivian Reddit is like a straight white guy fascism club. And if you're not popular or straight and live in a suburb and are an asshole, like you're not welcome to the club. So yeah, I'm gonna try to like not post in the subreddit for Rivian and Rivian R2 anymore. So I don't know if they'll see this. If they do, they'll probably ban me for saying this. I don't really care. But for now, I'm just gonna be a spectator in the R2 thread on Reddit. And I'm gonna continue to just be a part of the Facebook group because it seems a lot friendlier and more, yeah, it just seems friendlier. I know I just mentioned that most of the Rivian reviewers are white cisgender men. I do want to shout out Isaiah. He's like the only other black Rivian owner who also does reviews. I also think he's queer. Don't know for sure because I haven't followed him for that long, but if I'm wrong, I apologize. But yeah, I'm very much put off by the Rivian community based on what I've experienced on the subreddits. And I think you all are disgusting, rude people. With that said, I'm excited to own a Rivian myself and to experience it and to bring you all reviews and commentary about mine once it arrives. Really, the only thing I have to do now is reconsider the exterior color. If I'm not getting Borealis, I don't know, like launch green is fine. It's not my favorite, but I would rather have some color than a black or a white or a gray. And the only options are Catalina Cove or Launch Green. Catalina Cove would be fine. It's not my favorite. It's just, I don't know. I assume that's what most people are gonna want. So I'm kind of just trying to go in the direction of like individuality in a sense, which is why I wanted Borealis, but it's not gonna be available with the launch package. So I think I'm either going to pay extra for the Launch Green or I'll just stick with Esker Silver because it's free. And actually, at least in the pictures, it looks good because it matches the tow hooks on the front and like the silver trim around the vehicle and the rims and all of that. So it might be like a cool monochrome look. I don't think a lot of people have seen Esker Silver in person because my hypothesis for that is that Rivian isn't wanting to show Esker Silver because it's the only free option. Like, of course, they're only going to show Rivians with paint colors that you have to pay for so that by the time the configurator opens up in May or June, you are sold on a color that costs money. But we'll see, we'll see. I know it's hard for people in the automotive community to open up to different types of people being a part of your community, which is historically like, you know, like a toxic male community thing, but I'm not going anywhere. And if you're gonna be an asshole, I'll just block you, you know? Like, it's not that hard. So yeah, like you can continue to be an asshole, but like, I'm not going to engage directly with you. And you're going to miss out, Rivian actually will miss out on a huge community of people like myself who are into cars and who want to spend their money on cars, but are turned off by the bigoted sort of fascist activities of moderators and community members who seemingly aren't interested in welcoming other people to the community. So I will welcome everyone to my communities. If you're interested in learning more about the R2, I'm hoping to get it by summer like all the other early reservation holders. Please keep coming back. I'm also gonna make more tech content. I bought some new headphones. This is the first time I've used headphones that weren't Apple headphones in like, oh my God, like 10 years or something like that. So I have more coming. So if you like me, if you like my content, keep coming back, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Go out the same way I came in. Ooh, yeah.